If you just take a piece of paper and ask this simple question, and I recommend to young people do this for themselves, right? Take a piece of paper and just say, I am 80 years old.
Yeah.
And write an essay about it.
I've gotten the privilege of reading some of your books. You've written a couple of series of books. One of them are being Cut the Crap, No Nonsense Advice, Jargon. I mean, the titles of your books, the titles of your books, I mean, they catch so much attention. I remember when you sent me a link, which led me to some of your materials, and I saw the books titled Cut the Crap, No Nonsense Advice. What exactly is this all about? So when I started reading the books, that's when I realized that, these books are really, really transformational. And there's some certain concepts and principles that I think young people, especially young people, need to be exposed to in order for their lives to change. You've some of the series and some of the books that you've written about, they're addressing, of course, management, sales, leadership, all the various aspects of life. And you've also had the opportunity working with some of the biggest companies in your own company, like World Bank, for instance. What are some of the areas that you can say these are really critical for a young person? What are some of the do's and don'ts that would you advise young people when they're, going through life?
That's a very broad question.
I know.
I'm going. Let me start here. Let me try and give you three pieces of thing or advice, if you want to call it. I'm wary of calling it advice. I hate advice. I remember growing up and so-called wise people, older people, mature people telling me things, and I have a knee-jerk reaction towards that even now. So even with my own kids, I keep telling them, don't ask for advice, simply because advice is always contextual.
Yeah.
And most of the time, your context and someone else's context can be completely different.
That's very true.
So peering into somebody's life and saying, hey, you know what, that's a great piece of advice, I'm going to take it. And taking it as it is, I think, is a fundamental error. I think you need to weigh whatever advice comes your way, especially as a young person, and especially if you're asking an older person for advice.
Yeah.
Because what circumstances we grew up in is fundamentally different to what people are going through now. But I think there are a couple of fundamentals which I think holds you in good stead. One of it is something that I learned very late in life, and let me start there. One of the best pieces of advice I got was this cryptic message that said, work with the end in mind.
Okay.
Now, whenever somebody says that, it's subject to whatever you're doing right now. But I thought about it quite a lot, and it dawned on me. Work with the end in mind is not just about the here and the now, not in the context of what you're doing right now. So if you're studying, work with the end in mind obviously means that, do I want an A? Do I want a B? Do I want to top the batch? Yeah. Work with that in mind, right? But I think the statement was much broader than this. It was one of my very, very, very dear relatives who said this, and she was very, very old when she did utter these words, and never got the opportunity to kind of really dig in because I was far too young.
Yeah.
But when I thought about it, I really kind of dug in deep and I asked this question: what do you mean by work with the end in mind? And what it means is this: work with your end in mind, which is the end of your life.
Powerful. Yeah.
Okay.
That's deep.
So at the end of your life, if you decide to yourself, if you just take a piece of paper and ask this simple question, and I recommend to young people do this for themselves, right? Take a piece of paper and just say, I am 80 years old.
Yeah.
And write an essay about it randomly. And write down how you would feel, write down what you would have achieved. Look at an old person looking back at life. Put yourself in a situation and say, what would I have done in my life when I turn 80? What kind of a house would I be in? What kind of a car would I be driving? How many countries would I have visited? What kind of experiences would I have had? Now, once you write that essay, you'll have a fair understanding of what you really want out of life.
Yeah.
Provided you're looking at it here when you're 80. You're not asking yourself, what do I want in the next 5 years? See, the big mistake we make is we make short-term goals. See, the big mistake I made, I think, is when I turn 20, I ask myself, you know what, at 25, what do I need to be? And then at
Okay.
25, I ask myself, at 35, what do I need to be? So we are always looking at it incrementally. We are never asking ourselves, where do we need to be at the end of our lives, and work backwards. So if I want to be fantastically rich when I'm 80 years old and I can go on a cruise whenever I want to, the question is, what should you be doing now at 20 that will
Yeah.
enable you to get there? Well, assuming you write to yourself saying, I'm going to run half marathons even at 80. Well, what should you be doing right now when you're 20 in order to make sure that you're at peak performance throughout your life? Now, the moment you do that for yourself, the do's and the don'ts become very, very clear. Now, you want to be healthy at 80. The partying and the dancing and the smoking and the drinking better stop now itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you want to be really rich, you better cut down your spending a little bit in your youth, isn't it? If you want to make sure that
This one will hit a lot of people.
it's not going to happen otherwise.
Yeah.
So I think one of the best ways to kind of look at your life is to push forward until I would think 75, 80 is a fair feel for a man or a woman's age to not to say you will die at 80. Modern medicine, I think, has enabled you to live a little longer, but I think 80 is a safe bet
It's a safe, yeah.
to say, I think that's a ripe old age, and even if you do go, it's okay at 80.
Yeah.
And if you live longer, well, that's great too. But let's park it there. Don't say at 100 or whatever, right? Because you're not going to take yourself seriously at that point. So 70 or 80, put yourself there and ask, work with the end in mind. That's one. The second is, when you do this, always remember there is always a sacrifice you will need to make in the short term towards achieving your long term. You must be ready for that. 9 times out of 10, we want the cake and we want to eat it too. It doesn't work that way in real life.
Yes.
Whatever path you decide, whatever you decide to do, there is a sacrifice that you need to make in the short term towards your long term. Now, what that sacrifice is and whether it is worth it, that you have to decide, because nobody else can tell you that. So, give you an example. So, when I was growing up, I got married really young. I was 24 when I got married. I was 25 when I had my daughter. And at this point, I had to make a very, very simple choice. Am I going to work really late, long hours, and make sure that I put in the hours to make sure that I get in ahead of my career? Or am I going to come home? Now, for the first 5 years of my daughter's life, I hardly saw her. That was a very conscious decision I took. I was the sole breadwinner in the family. My wife decided to kind of stay at home to look after the kid. That was a very conscious decision she made, because she always said, when we have kids, I want to be at home. And I don't come from wealth. I made a very conscious decision that I was going to do whatever it took to make sure that I was ahead of my career. Now, somebody else looking at it may turn around and say, look, this is just not worth it. I hardly see my baby. Now, that's a very personal choice. But all I'm saying is, if you sacrifice those 5 years towards your career, chances are you'll be much more ahead of your career than someone else who went home exactly at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the afternoon and didn't put in that time. Okay? Unless you were brilliant at whatever you did. So there's always a trade-off. There's always a simple sacrifice that needs to be made. So be ready for it. So work with the end in mind. Be willing to make short-term sacrifices towards your long-term. And the third is, you need to make sure that whatever you choose to do, that you're doing it with both eyes open.
Okay.
Most of the time, we don't. We make a horrible mistake of romanticizing work and thinking that this is going to be fun. I'm going to follow my passion. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. There's a lot of this going out there. I don't subscribe to that notion. I think nobody who does and commit to hard work enjoys it at that moment in time.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. It's a bit like going for practices. If you want to play in the NBA and you really want to kind of be the next Michael Jordan or the, my vintage, the next Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or whoever, right? You need to commit to serious practice. Now, do you honestly think that someone enjoys practice? Hundreds of push-ups, hundreds of sit-ups, hundreds of sprints, hundreds of touching the lines. You know, it isn't easy. Your body aches. You want to take a rest day, but you can't. You
Yeah.
don't enjoy that. Now, looking back at it, we turn around and say, you know what, great times, and we talk about it with great fondness because we achieved something out of it.
Yeah.
But that's looking back. When you're going through it, you don't enjoy it. You really don't. Lots
painful.
of people turn around and say, enjoy the journey. It's tough too when you're in the journey. Not if you're doing something tremendously difficult, not if you're doing something horrendously tough. If it's an
Yeah.
easy enough journey, see, I'll give you an example of this as well. Imagine yourself climbing a mountain
Yeah.
and you're taking it at your own pace. You want to get to the top, have a breathtaking view, and come down. No pressure. That's fine. You're going to enjoy the ride, for sure. You're going to enjoy the journey. But now imagine competing up onto the mountain, because that's what most of the corporate life is. Make no mistake, it is a competitive environment, right? So you have to
Yeah.
decide whether you want to compete or not. Now that's again a personal choice. Okay, it's a very personal choice. If you decide to compete, then you must be willing to suffer through it and not necessarily enjoy the journey as such, but enjoy the destination once you arrive.
Yes.
That's a trade-off too. Okay.
That's
So I
yeah.
know this is counterproductive
Yeah.
in the form of advice that generally people give.
Definitely.
But here's the thing. I always tell people, don't get into a boxing ring if you don't want to get hurt and if you don't want to hurt anybody else. Yeah. You can't get inside the ring and then turn around and say, hey, but why are people beating me up? Man, I really just want to take part. That's not boxing for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then take something else. So you have to be very, very clear about so work with the end in mind.
Yeah.
Be willing to sacrifice in the short term towards your
Yeah.
long term, and get into whatever you're getting into with both of your eyes open. Do not romanticize this. Understand it for what it is, and then be willing to make the tough calls to ask yourself, is this really what I want to do? And if the answer is yes, then just like getting into the ring, you must be okay about knocking the other person down, and you must be able to take the punches. Depends whether you want to do it or not.
Yeah.
But again, it's a personal choice. So what I mean is not to kind of don't take this out of context. I'm not talking of being ruthless inside a corporate setting. I think that is counterproductive. I honestly do think so. But make no mistake, there will be others who look at it that way and throw punches at you. And you must decide at that point whether you want to compete in that space or not. But once again, it's a very personal choice. The issue is that a lot of young people get into the workplace very naive about all of these things. They get into industries and they're very naive about these things, and therefore get jaded along the way and lose a beautiful part of your soul because of it. So walk into it with both eyes open.